My name is NeverChris and this is my review for Furu Park on the Nintendo Wii. Now before we get started, remember I'm always interested in hearing any feedback. You're also welcome to subscribe to my channel and request any newer or older games you'd like me to review. With the breakout success of Wii Sports and some of Nintendo's more casual titles, it seems like every company is hoping to emulate the Big N success. In Furu Park, Italian company 505 Games in association with Taito has produced yet another compilation of short and quick casual games for the system. The initial standout feature of Furu Park is that it's obviously of Japanese origin. Furu Park spares no expense in delivering the super deformed cute look that's rather popular in the Japanese anime art form, along with the accompanying squeals and sense of humor. It's a slight breath of fresh air, but it may be a little off-putting for some. The other standout quality of Furu Park is that it contains some cameos from other popular Taito franchises. Fan favorites Arkanoid and Bubble Bobble make an appearance along with a few others. You get to play a level similar to the original arcade release in competition with either another player or the clock. Don't get too excited though, as it's over before you know it and you'll always be playing the same level. While I am a big fan of the originals, I was very disappointed when it came to actually playing them. Similar to WarioWare Twisted, each minigame has its own controls, though nothing nearly as outrageous as the aforementioned game. Allow me to give you a bit of a rundown on each game. Though I'm showing you the game through single player mode, all of my impressions are based on playing the game in multiplayer mode. Alright, here we go. Skateboard is played similar to DDR in that you point the Wiimote in the direction that it shows you. It's a slight bit of a novelty, but nothing special. Unwrap the Mummy has you thrusting the Wiimote back and forth like nobody's business, and it kind of feels wrong too. Pinch Hitter is a baseball game, but swinging the Wiimote doesn't offer nearly enough precision to really make the game worth it. Swan Runner is actually pretty cool as you move through a tunnel by tilting the Wiimote while avoiding obstacles. Sushi has you serving sushi on a conveyor belt and is probably the worst game on here. Submarine Escape is a side-scrolling obstacle dodging game and isn't very fun. The hammer throw has you swinging the Wiimote quickly to launch the Afro people and is mostly based on luck. Super Karate is actually pretty fun in multiplayer as you fight head-to-head by pointing the Wiimote towards the direction it tells you. Treasure Hunter is a boring piece of crap. Swan Shooter is an old-school throwback to shoot-'em-ups and is actually pretty fun but also quite hard. Camel Maze has you rotate the screen to send a ball through a maze, and it was alright. Furu Park also contains a single level of Arkanoid, which is pretty exciting at first, but also becomes rather dull very quickly. You only get to play a single level and it's always the same level. Bubble Bobble delivers the same very initial excitement and then the eventual letdown. You only get a single level once again and you're forced to repeatedly take out respawning enemies. Furu Park also contains a collection of puzzle-related games, which are consistently fun, along with some other boring games that aren't even worth mentioning. The single-player version of this game is completely worthless. Testing each game to record footage was just an absolute chore. I haven't had less fun in a video game in a very long time. Don't pick this one up if you don't have someone to play with. Multiplayer fares a little bit better as it gives you someone to yell at the game with and makes a small handful of the games fun for a short while. This is the only way to play this game. Furu Park is a little weird in that it has some strange battle of the sexes to prove your love thing going on. Player 1 is always a boy and player 2 is always a girl. While ideally this shouldn't pose too much of a problem, this oversight might lead to some slightly awkward situations depending on who you're playing with. In multiplayer, there's a love compatibility test which has you and your partner compete in 5 games of your choice to deliver a compatibility score. I'm not sure if this compatibility follows any kind of logical logarithm, but it might supply at least a good laugh or eye-rolling sarcastic remark depending on who you're playing with. The most fun mode is the panel attack. You compete for ownership of squares in a sort of bingo type of game by playing a mini-game associated with each square. Making lines and diagonals will net you some extra points, and it can be rather amusing to stop your partner from making these lines as well. The saving grace of many multiplayer games is that no matter what, you and whoever you're playing with can always join forces in swearing at the game and playfully making taunts at each other regardless of whether either of you know what you're doing or how to even play. The mark of a true good multiplayer game though is whether or not the gameplay is actually fun on its own. For Furu Park, the latter is not true. There's a couple of good games and a handful of exceedingly average games, but nothing that really puts this game above and beyond other titles of its type. For the most part, Furu Park is actually pretty boring. The greatest sin this game commits is that Majesco, the company that published Furu Park in America, took out an entire mode from the single player. There was originally a story mode that consisted of many dialogue choices similar to the dating games that are rather popular in Japan. While I highly doubt that this mode would have acted as any sort of saving grace, its omission is insulting. I hate to imply that I'm pushing any sort of agenda in my reviews, but these sorts of practices are just lame. The American version of Furu Park is neutered, and I would definitely think twice about supporting this title if you're in any way sitting on the fence about it. Furu Park should essentially be considered a multiplayer-only game and is a very average one at best. It doesn't even come close to the excitement that WarioWare Twisted provides. Even if you don't mind an entire mode getting cut, there isn't much here that'll deliver any sort of lasting excitement. Furu Park is amusing at first, but it becomes dull very quickly. Worse exists, but that isn't saying much at all. Just downloading Bubble Bobble off the Virtual Console should provide a lot more fun than this game ever could. I give Furu Park a 5 out of 10.